Have your RV batteries left you in the dark? Well, let me shine some light on how we've added more power to RV in this episode of Travels with Delaney. Welcome back, everyone. My name's Patrick, and if this is your first time here at Travels with Delaney, welcome. We're your channel all about RVing and living life to the fullest. We have over 15 years of experience doing this thing we love called RVing, and we just try to share some of what we've learned over the years with you. So in this episode, I want to talk about a device that we recently purchased to give us more power for both our trailer and here at home. So a lot of times we're not staying in campgrounds that have electricity, which means we have to run our trailer off of our batteries. So for those of you not familiar with our setup, we currently are in a 2020 Lance model number 1985. We have two Battle-Born lithium batteries, 100 amp hours apiece. We're using a 2000 watt Xantrex inverter slash battery charger, and we have 380 watts of solar on top. But there are times where we're worried that we may burn through those 200 amp hours before we can get either enough sun to charge the batteries back up or get somewhere to charge them up through electrical power, and I wanted some type of backup. So let's head into the trailer and I'll show you exactly what we bought. This is our Bluetti AC200P. Now, these are called different things. I've heard them called battery packs. I've heard them called solar powered generators. And before you head to the comment section to tell me, Patrick, that's not a generator. Well, not in the traditional sense. There's no gasoline and there's no engine on board. But in many ways, it does act like a generator in the sense that it does have a system to give you power, just like a generator would, and it has a way to recharge it and keep the energy flowing, and we'll talk about different ways to recharge or put energy into this. So there are several brands out there that you can choose from. Our friends Russ and Carrie over at Nail in the Foot on Facebook has the Goal Zero Yeti 1500X that they use all the time in their little guy Max, and they absolutely love it. Our friend Randy from Randy's Adventures has a Jackery, and Jackery makes a great product, but ultimately I decided to go with this Bluetti. Now, there's several reasons why I decided to go, but I think one of the main reasons was the fact that this particular unit is 2,000 watt hours of lithium iron phosphate, which is basically the same type of battery that our Battle-Born batteries are. And this unit has a 2,000 watt pure sine wave inverter built right into it. It will do 2,000 running watts, and it will peak, I've heard, at over 4,000 watts. So this will power a lot of things, and I really like the capacity and the size of the inverter, which is why I went with it. Now let's get through some of the quick specs on this thing. This weighs in at a whopping 60 pounds, so it's not lightweight, but I do like the design because they did put two nice grab handles right here at the top, which makes it a lot easier for lifting it and moving it around. We've got about 17 inches going across, and we're around a little over maybe 15 and a half height-wise, and depth-wise, we're right around 11 inches. So that gives you an idea on size. But I know the big question all of you are wondering right off the top of the bat is, what did you pay for it? Now, I'm not going to make you wait to the end of the video. I'm going to go ahead. So these retail for $2,000. However, when I purchased it, Bluetti was running a special of $300 off. So we ended up getting this for $1,700 plus tax. And you can pick these up either directly from the Bluetti website, or you can pick them up on Amazon. Now, I will leave a link down below in the description for this video for this particular product on Amazon. Just know that as an Amazon affiliate, if you do use our link, we will make a small commission off of your purchase. However, it doesn't affect your price whatsoever. I just decided to order from Amazon because we are Prime members. We get that free shipping, which I do think they were offering over at Bluetti, but I also know Amazon's return policy. It's real easy. I thought if we had any issues to return, I could work directly through Amazon on that. Now, in terms of packaging, I didn't want to do an unboxing video, but I do want to mention the boxing because it was phenomenal. So there was an outer shipping cardboard box, and then there was the cardboard box that this came in. So in essence, you had a box in a box. You had two massive pieces of foam, one on the bottom cradling it, one over the top cradling it. And so that thing was so well packed for shipping. Kudos to Bluetti for that. Also in the box, this thing was completely wrapped in plastic, which I'm assuming is to help keep any kind of dust or debris out during the shipping process. Again, another nice thing. In addition to the unit, we received this bag of goodies that we'll go through here in just a little bit. And inside that bag was some real basic paperwork. But what I like was right on the front, they let you know with this particular unit, you're getting a 2-year warranty. So I really like that. Now, if you want heavy tech, geek out on things, this is not the video for you. I would recommend going and checking out either a video done by Will Prowess or check out Hobotech's YouTube channel. He's got some videos on this, and they really get into all the, the deep dive into the specs on this thing as far as voltage and watts and amps. And that's not what this video is about. This is more just trying to share with you what this product is and how it could be used both in an RV and maybe someplace else. Now, you might be thinking, gosh, why would you invest that much money after you've added lithium batteries, you've added solar, that big inverter to the trailer? Well, the reason is not only do we see ourselves using this here in the RV as additional power, we're going to be using this around the house. Where we live, we tend to lose power a few times a year, and normally I have to get out a gas generator, fire it up. I have to run extension cords into the house to plug in some necessary things. With this, I can keep this in the house. Power goes out. I can just go ahead and quickly plug things into it, and it's super quiet. There's just a couple cooling fans. That's really all you hear versus hearing a gas generator running outside. So we're going to use it that way. And, this thing's great because we could throw this in the car if we had someplace like for a picnic or an outing someplace. This is like a power pack to go. How much power is in here? Well, with this 2,000 watt hour, I like to think of this as like maybe a Battleborn and a half, or maybe a little bit more. I mean, there's a lot of power packed into this particular unit. So let's go through just some of the basic features. Bluetti says there are 17 ways you can charge with this. So we're going to start with this right here, which is the AC side. Now, for those of you that maybe don't understand what AC is your basic plugs that you see in your house. Okay, that's your 110. So you're going to be able to plug in household appliances and run them off of this. So you have 6 of these plugs right here, and they are all protected with these little rubber flaps. Watching some reviews, some people like them, some people don't. I think they're nice because they keep stuff out of the way as far as like dust getting in here, that type of thing. So I actually kind of like those. So there's 6 ways that we could use this. But in addition to the AC side, we also have the DC side. And so we have 4 USB plugs on here. So think about things you use USB for, maybe charging a cell phone, for instance. You also have 1 USB-C plug. Now, if I had a complaint about this unit already, this is it right here. I wish they would have put a couple of these in, because this is what we use to charge our iPads and using our quick chargers for our iPhones. You also have these round style DC plugs. Probably not something we're going to use. I don't have anything that uses those. Those are a 3 amp plug. And then up here, you have one of the typical, what we would refer to as a cigarette lighter plug. And this particular one is a 10 amp plug. And I believe these are all regulated. So, and then finally, they have this monster over here. It does take a special plug that you can get from Bluetti to plug into, but this is a 25 amp plug. And my understanding from watching some other videos is you might consider wiring this into an actual circuit breaker on your trailer to run things like your Max Air fans or your Fantastic fans, things like that. You could actually do a direct wire. Again, we're not going to do that. I want to keep this thing portable, even if I want to do that, it would be portable because you could just unplug it quickly. So those are that. So let's think about this. You've got 6 here and 4 here. That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Where's those other 2? They're right here on top. Bluetti went ahead and threw on a couple wireless charging pads right on top. So if you have something that uses wireless charging like a cell phone, you can plop it right on there and begin charging without even plugging in. So that gives you 17 different ways to actually use this unit. Now, it is made out of plastic, but it seems to be well built. I really like the looks of it. It's just an attractive looking unit. You have this big metal button over here, which is your power button. So I'm going to go ahead and push that. A green light's going to come on, And then this has this large digital display right here, which I like because it is well laid out. It's easy to understand. Literally, you turn it on, you'll figure it out quickly. So right in the center, it's going to give you the current state of charge for your power pack. So we're currently at 80%. And then what we're going to end up having is we're going to have the AC both coming in and going out, and it's going to show us exactly what we're bringing in and what we're using. And then we also have the DC monitors as well, what's coming in, what's going out. I'll show you that in a moment. We have an on-off switch for AC, and we have an on-off switch for DC. There is a settings button where you can go in and make some changes to things. There's a data log, so if you are a person, again, who likes to geek out on stats, you can track how you're using it and how much energy you've brought in, things like that. And then finally, there's the fault button, so if you do go into some kind of fault, not only do you know that it's faulting, but you can go in and see exactly what went wrong and reset it. So my only complaint with this screen is when you're outside in the sunlight, it's almost impossible to see. I mean, I'm literally, when I've used it so far, I'm having to kind of cup around it to be able to read it. But inside, we don't have any issues with that. So that would be another one of my complaints if I have any complaints with the unit so far. So, all right. Now, what can I use this for? Well, I say let's go ahead and we're going to turn it on. And I'm going to start with the AC side. And how might I use it in the trailer? I do like my fresh ground Bob's Mugs coffee. And sometimes I like to make espresso using my Nespresso maker. We might want to make dinner in our Instant Pot using the Bluetti. Patty likes that she can use her hairdryer both on low and high. Or it might be as simple as just charging up our laptops when we're working from the road. So you can see the possibilities on AC are really endless with this big power bank. Now, I did want to show you real quick again with the hairdryer. If I go ahead and turn this on, I'm going to be able to see exactly how much power I am pulling. And in this case, we're pulling just under 900 watts with this particular hairdryer. And you can see it's having no problems running it. If I drop it down to low, then we see that number drops well below that number. In fact, we're like 587, 588, and so less power draw. Now, I did test this out with the entire trailer plugged in, and you might say, how did you do that? Well, I ended up converting our 30 amp plug outside. I just downgraded it to the 110 plug, plugged it in, and we were able to actually run the 13.5 BTU Coleman Mach air conditioner with this. Now, I ran it for about 6 minutes. It was like 82 degrees outside, ran flawlessly, no issues for over 6 minutes, dropped the temperature in the trailer by about 6 degrees. Now, understand that if you're going to run something like an air conditioner pulling that much, then this unit probably is only going to last for around an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. But we're not going to run the AC off of this nonstop. We would only use it to maybe run the AC for about 15 minutes, again, just to get some of the humidity and the heat out of the trailer. And then we would go to things like fans just to keep us cool until it cooled down outside. But I do have a short clip video over on our Facebook page, Travels with Delaney, if you want to check that out on the day that I tried this out. Now, I would show it here in this video for you, but unfortunately today it's actually cool out again in Indiana, and it's not really going to show you much because the AC compressor might not even kick on that it's so cool currently. So we'll be trying this out throughout our summer travels. We're going to be on the road for about 8 weeks. So I guarantee you later in the summer, there'll be another video coming out where I'll be able to update you on just how well it worked, how much usage we were able to get out of it, things like that. Now let's go ahead and talk about the DC side and what we can use it for. Now to use the DC side, I'm going to go ahead and push the DC on. Yes, I want to turn it on. It's going to light up and it's going to let us know now the DC side is on. For those of you wondering, yes, I can operate both the AC and the DC simultaneously. So now I can use it for things like I need to charge my GoPro batteries. I can use the USB port, or I can use it to power this fan that we absolutely love when we're off grid. It's very low usage of energy. In fact, right now it looks like I'm pulling a whopping 21 watts, and that's with the fan going. That's with my iPad plugged in, my GoPro battery being charged. And up top, if I want, I can use the wireless charging. There, it clicked in, and now I'm charging my iPhone. So lots of different ways, lots of different devices will operate off of DC power, and this is going to allow us to do that. Now, a lot of times when you're operating off the 12 volt or the DC side, it's a much lighter draw on your battery, so this is going to last longer. So anytime we can operate off DC, we like to do that, and that's why things like this fan that is USB, we really like this. It will move the air around, but it doesn't put a big strain on the unit or on our Battleborn batteries here in the trailer. So now we know about taking power out of the unit and what we can power potentially with it. Now let's talk about how do we recharge it. Bluetti says there's 5 ways that you can put power back into this unit. Now, you're going to use the ports here on the side of this unit, and you have 2 different ports depending on how you're going to charge. The other nice thing is this unit can be charged from 2 sources at one time, which is going to cut your charging time. So let's go ahead and look at those, quote, 5 options. So in your bag, you're going to receive with your unit a power charging block. Now this thing's kind of big, it's a little heavy, but they do provide that with you. They also provide you some cables, and we'll talk about what all these cables are for. So the first thing I need to do is go ahead and open this up. I'm going to look for the one with the 110 plug. That is going to plug into this charging station. And if you're at a campground or you're at home or wherever you have a 110 plug that's active, you can go ahead, plug that right on in. So I'm going to do that. I turn the power on in the trailer. I'm going to get a green light. You're going to hear a fan running. That's going to help to keep this unit cool. And then we're going to take the other end and just go ahead and plug it in right there. And now I'm going to turn the unit back around. And we should be able to see, instead of power going out, we now have power coming in, and we have about 480 watts coming in. So they say it can take, I think, like 2 to 5 hours, depending if this thing's fully drained, to charge it back up. Obviously, depending on how low it is, when you go to recharge it, will depend on how long it takes. They do sell these chargers. You can buy a second one. Right now, at this time of this video, they're about $140 a piece. If you put 2 of these on this unit, they say you can cut the charge time down to 2.5 hours. Now, I'm going to start with just the one that was included and see how that works for us this summer. But if we need a quicker recharge time, then I may look at doing that. So this is one way that we can actually recharge. Now, a second way is through 12 volt. So for instance, you could have this in a cigarette lighter in your car while you're driving, plugged in, and it's going to recharge. Or we have a 12 volt plug here in the trailer, so I could use that. And the way this works is we're going to use this plug that goes in the other port on the side. This is our solar port. And I tell you, these cables and these plugs seem to be really heavy, which I like. They didn't seem to cheap out on the plugs. And all you have to do, I'll get it here. I'm gonna get these 2 lined up. There we go. And it actually locks in. You actually have to pull this little collar out to remove it. So I like the fact that it can't pop out. So I'm gonna turn this back around. And then what we're gonna do is this cable's gonna have multiple uses. So I wanna right now use it for the 12 volt. I'm gonna plug in my 12 volt plug. And now I'm going to plug this into our 12 volt port here in the trailer. And now on the DC side, we're bringing in 91 watts. So understand, if you're only getting about 91 watts through that 12 volt port, it could take you literally up to 20 hours to recharge this thing. But if you're driving down the road, you've got a long drive day, and you can put some power back into it, why not? So it gives you that option. And in my case, I'm actually now topping out well over 500, pushing 600 watts because I'm using the 110 and I'm using the 12 volt. So there's two ways we can charge it. Now I'm going to go ahead and unplug my 12 volt to talk about the third way. And I think what I'm going to do is, just so we don't hear that fan running, I'm going to go ahead, unplug that. So the third option is they give you these MC4 solar connectors, which we would then plug into this cable, just like this, and then we could hook up solar panels. This will handle up to 700 watts of solar coming into it. Bluetti does sell solar kits that you can buy. They have a package where you buy this with 3 of their 120 watt panels. That's going to give you, 360 watts. You set those out and you'll get solar going into it. They also sell some 200 watt kits. So if you got a couple of those, you could have 400, or if you bought 3. We decided that we don't know that we'll really use solar as a charging mechanism. And if we do, we're going to just look at our options. I'm still trying to figure out a way that maybe I can capture the solar that we already have on the roof to go into this. Now, I do have one of those Renogy suitcase style, but here's the problem with it. It has a charge controller on it. This has an MPTP controller already in it. So that doesn't work real well because you have one controller and then you have a second controller. So you really just need solar panels that have no controller attached to them. Plug those in, and then this has the solar controller in it. So, all right, there are 3 ways now that we can charge. Now, number 4 is they don't include it, but you can actually add a cable that plugs in with alligator clips. So if you want to use a lead acid battery, you could clip onto a lead acid battery, and that would be a 4th way they say to charge. And then the 5th way they say you can charge is if you have a gas generator, you could then use your 110 plug it into the gas generator. While it's running, it would recharge this unit. Now you might say, why, if I'm carrying a gas generator, would I want this? Well, a lot of the parks that don't have electrical hookups that do allow people to run a generator typically have hours that you can run them, maybe between like 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. So if you could run your generator for a few hours to put some charge on this, when generator hours are over, then you would have power in your RV for at nighttime, maybe to run a CPAP machine or whatever it is you might consider using a Bluetti for. So that is how you would actually put power back into this. Now you might be wondering, how long will this actually last? And I'm talking about in terms of not the battery itself, but the lifespan of a product like this. And Bluetti on their website says this is good up to about 3,500 charges. Now, even then, once you hit that number, it doesn't mean that it will no longer work. It just means you're only going to be able to charge the batteries up to some number like 80% or 70%. So you'd still be able to use it, but to get its full usage, this thing is good for a lot of life cycles, and that I really like. So just know you're investing a lot of money in something like this, but according to Bluetti, the power is going to be there for years to come. And I like the fact, again, that they give you that 2-year warranty on the unit. So that's the Bluetti AC200P. Now, again, it's a lot of money, but I like how we're going to be able to use it for different things besides just RVing. We're going to use it here at the home, and who knows where else we may be able to use this. So I really like that. I like the fact that it's super quiet, unlike a gas generator. The only noise you're really going to hear from it is going to be the fans on each side that will kick in to keep the unit cool, but otherwise it's super quiet. I love the size of the battery pack on board, and I love this massive 2,000 watt running watt inverter that they've installed in it. So that is it, and we will let you know at the end of the summer how well it's worked out for us. So far, in the few weeks we've had it and we've used it, we absolutely love it. And like I said, I've tried to point out some of the things I don't like about it, but honestly, the pros on this far outweigh for us any negatives. Do you use anything like this? Maybe you have a Jackery, a Goal Zero, maybe you own a Bluetti. And by the way, these come in different sizes and configurations. If you're thinking that's way too heavy, way too big, and I don't need that much power, well, you can find these types of units much smaller. I've seen them, in 500 watt hours. I've seen 1,000 watt hours. So depending on what your needs are, you may be able to get something like this that works for your particular situation. So let me know, do you use anything like this? Which one do you have? I just want to know. Your comments not only help us out, but they also help out our entire community so that everyone can read through and get advice and share their thoughts. So we really appreciate that. All right, everybody, I hope this was useful. Hope you give us the thumbs up. And until next time, we'll see you on down the road. Good night.